Yeah, that's her old sister. But actually, I don't have a own sister. So I have a cousin sister, as I mentioned in the speech. So my cousin sister is also, she's kind of innovative and she's also very thoughtful. So I used the same thing onto my book and I had made the same thing into it. So my aunt, I also mentioned about my aunt in my story. So she is also extremely innovative and thoughtful. So and also gives me lots of ideas on how to succeed in life. So that's how I incorporated the same thing into my book and I started doing it. That's the one thing. And as I mentioned before, books, they always given me books. So from the various books I've read so far, I used like the input of some characters and I used to create them into my own way. So these are the two ways I created the characteristics so realistic and so interactive. Okay, so what's your name? Madala. Okay, Madala. That was a nice question. Madala. Okay, nice question. Thanks. Story is adventurous and there's it's so dramatic. There's lots of twists and turns in it. So that's why I chose a detective because detective is always so innovative and he always has lots of mysteries and adventures in them. So if you want to choose a type of adventure stories, you can like you can do a story where there are few friends they who are always together and who always goes on finding adventures, who always goes on finding adventures and they do stuffs. So you can try like that and you can create your own story. So actually you said you're writing a story, right? What's its name?
Shield of the City.
Shield of City. Oh, cool. So you can incorporate this idea into it and you can do the book. So nice. So let me have your book once it's published, okay? Let me know when your book is published.
I
Okay.
wrote the first part.
Oh, it is first part. So when will your book publish? When will your book be published? You don't know? Okay. So let me know. Ah, sure. So let's interact together and we'll make a book soon. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Just curious. I read both the stories of the game. You
What story did
use
it?
both stories.
Okay.
You use some words to describe the places, like Allen cities and million plants.
Yes.
Even if I write some stories, I will use those words from the book which influenced me. So
Exactly.
I'm asking what book influenced you to write it?
Okay, so I was talking about my first inspiration, right? Not the name Elizabeth Adami. So when I was reading through all the library shelves, I got one book which was named the series is named Geronimo Stilton. So I started reading it, and then I completed all the series in the books. Who then was so innovative. I mean, actually, the stories were so good. That's what inspired me to write and create. So henceforth, I started incorporating the inputs from the story themselves and started putting it onto my journey. So the same happens when I got inspired by someone and now I'm writing a story. So more people will get inspired by me and they will write a story and it goes on forth. So this is a cycle of how inspiration works and how people they get innovative and they succeed in their life. So
Thank you.
nice. Thanks a lot.
I have a doubt.
Get a mic a bit closer.
I am Sanjay Raja 5B. I am Sanjay Raja 5B from NSN Memorial Senior Secondary School. And I have a doubt. I, I am I am Sanjay Raja 5B from NSN Memorial Senior Secondary School.
Okay.
I have a doubt.
Yes, go ahead.
The short story that you wrote was very amazing. And
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, that is when I thought of something. Is this story based on any other story?
Actually, yeah, as I said before, I used to take the inputs from other stories and I used to put as an output. So it's not only from one story. I've incorporated all the 350 ideas from all the books and I incorporated one book. So when you read more books, you get more imagination, you get carried away by imagination, and imagination gets much wider, it's much wider. So you can incorporate more ideas into yourself and then put it into your book. So that's how I read through all the stories over the course of the past 4 years. I incorporated all the ideas from them and I put it into my story. So this is how it works. When you read more, you can unlock the skills of another set of skills which is required to write. Reading doesn't only have the potential to write; it will also give you lots of benefits that you can work on with for your future endeavors. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Navya Ganesh from Medicine Pulpit.
Hello.
My question is that how did you manage to balance your career as an author as well as a student at the same time?
Exactly. So this is one of the questions that I used to hear the most. So number one, I used to put a schedule always. So schedule is where I used to work accordingly. So I used to split up my work. So there's this one technique where you take all the important works and you first do them. So you shouldn't judge your work whether it's important or not, whether it's hard or easy. You should do the one which is hard and it's extremely important first, and then you should complete the easier ones later. Because if you focus on the hard ones first, you can you shouldn't worry about the rest of the things. But if you focus the easy things first, it will bind up into later, and it may be much difficult for you to complete the harder works. So what I would say is first do the hard works, put a schedule, do the hard works, and then work on to the easier ones later.
Thank you.
I'm Chinmay from 5A. I'm coming from Innocent Memorial School. I also read the books that you said you read. I've read Elizabeth Remy books, but I've never got these ideas you said you got from the books. And the vocabulary you used was very nice. You
Thanks.
you took from internet or with the help of the books you inputted the vocabulary.
Not only from books, but dictionary has also helped me a lot. So when I incorporate words from the dictionary, I used to look after them and I used to write on my book. So the one thing is you should always take your time before you do something big. So you incorporate all the ideas that you can, find all the innovative thoughts into it and incorporate it into yourself before you do much better. So you're reading Elizabeth Adams book, right? Yes, so I've completed all of this series of books. Now I move on to a new one. So when you read for a long time, you can get the inspiration to write more. So how long have I been reading?
For maybe 1 year.
Oh, okay, maybe 1 year. So keep reading, keep reading. As said before, reading doesn't have it has lots of benefits in it. Not only to write, but also has benefits into it. So if you see like lots of successful people, they used to read a lot, what they can achieve in their life. So when you read a lot, it doesn't let you write, but also has lots of benefits attached to it, which you can use in your later years.
Thank
So
you.
thanks. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Smriti Vijayaraghavan from Anderson Memorial Senior Secondary School. I'm studying 5th standard A section. So I'm going to ask 3 questions. Can I?
Okay.
So first question is, if your grandmother or someone asks you that to not eat ice cream and you were a naughty boy, how would you feel?
You are giving him idea to use it in this story.
No, I'm asking you.
Actually, I am. I used to eat it somehow without them seeing. So this is how like most of the naughty people do, and I also used to do it when I was young, just like you. So I used to get it. I used to eat it whenever they don't see me, whenever they are in work. So I used to devour it at once I could. So this is how when I was around your age, I used to do the same thing. Okay, next question.
This question is, if you would be a king and you had a trustable soldier but he betrayed you, how would you feel? What would you do?
If, okay, so if he had betrayed me somehow, I should, instead of worrying about it, it's a past. So instead of worrying about it, I will focus on to the present and I will create a new, better kingdom with new ideas and start developing more. So I incorporate trustable soldiers into my kingdom and I use them rather than betrayable ones.
Okay. Last and final question. Uh, what would be your next story? Like, what, what kind of topic? What kind of topic are you planning to do? What are you planning to do for the next story?
Okay, so I've published 3 books so far, as you already know.
Fourth book.
Fourth book. Yeah, you know. Okay, so the 3 books, they follow the adventure of a detective. So I'm putting it like a series, so I'll continue the series. As I've heard from most of the people, they used to tell me that you should never leave a series that you've already started. So I'll keep working on to my series until they start to explore like Harry Potter, as ma'am said, and they become much successful in my life.
J.K. Rowling.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
It seems as if there's a long queue. I should answer everybody.
Hi, I'm Felicia from 5A. I'm from NSN Necrom. So I read your story, that is a short story which is adventure, advice from an elder.
Yes.
How did you write it? How did you write with your imagination or your real based story?
Actually, it was a real based story. So once, long ago, I guess, I'm not sure. Long ago, my parents had told me something, but I didn't follow it, and then I had to face the consequence later on. So that's when I realized that I should always hear to their advice, because that advice can always be useful for you later on. So that's a real based situation that I come across. So always, the elders are much more experienced than what we are. They have seen they have seen more than what we did. So always taking advice from elders, not only from parents but also from grandparents. You can get more knowledge into your life, and you can also get more ideas, and you can also get more behavioral concepts that you can use it in your life. So,
And another question, how did you know that moral of the story?
the moral is what I created myself. So as I said before, advice from an elder is always not, it's always helpful in your life. So just wrote the moral as such. That's my imagination.
So it was a real based story?
Yeah, it was a
that
real
like-
based story, exactly.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. So I'm Varvika of class 7 from Sri Nadesan Vidyasala Higher Matriculation School. So I have a question that whenever you're writing a story, it would be there is some negative comments and positive. How would you take the negative comments?
Okay, so I've incorporated negative comments. So negative comments is what I don't get the most. But if I do read it, I used to work on it and create it to my advantage as well as a disadvantage. Taking disadvantage as a point into myself and making it as an advantage will always help me propel forward rather than worrying about the disadvantage. So if you work on the disadvantage and make it into your advantage, it will always help you in your life, in your career especially. Okay, thanks.
My name is R.K. Sandra from 8G. I'm from Sri Nadesan Sri Nadesan Vidyasala Matriculation High Secondary School. My question is, you mentioned many places in the story. That is in the life.
Sorry?
You mentioned many places in that story.
Exactly.
That is all true places in the life.
No. That's my imagination. So whenever I get imagination, I used to put it into my book. Actually, they are not real places. That's my imagination.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I am Ananya G of 8E from Sri Nadesan Vidyasala School. Who is the person who encouraged you more than anyone else?
Actually, my parents, they were the one who motivated me, anyone else. So I don't know I had such a potential until my father, he said that I can publish a book. So that's when I started putting in a lot of effort and I published my first book. My mother, she had always been a staunch supporter in my journey. So she had provided me the inspiration and recognition I would require to achieve further in my life. So she had got lot of connections and networks which I could use. I used to gain ideas from them. I used to talk with them whenever I get free time. I used to gain ideas from them, and I used to incorporate not only in my books but also in my life. So that's how it works.
I'm Vishnu Anand from Natation School again.
Yes.
How did you manage your schoolworks, like studying for exams and reading schoolworks and writing your books?
Actually, I have said the answer again. I said once, yes, but I'll repeat it for you again. So, number one, I used to put a schedule. So, schedule is where I separate my work and I used to incorporate it. So, I used to take the harder and important one at first, and I used to do it first. And then the easier one, I used to keep it at last because if you complete the harder ones first, the easy ones will be much easier for you to do instead of worrying about the harder ones later. So, that's how it works. Okay.
Thank you. And I love reading books like adventurous about crimes, magics, and I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter. And I started writing books so many times, nearly 12 or 13 times, and I withdrew it. It was so tough, and if I start to write, it was so tough to do writing. So, could you please give me advice to start writing books?
Okay, so failure is the first step to success. So failure, I also faced failure. So I've done a lots of concepts on a story, but I couldn't find one until I stick on the detective. So I've done over 41 stories on the detectives, but I used to separate them according to which ones are the best, and I then used to use it on my book. So actually talking about how to write. So reading, this is a read on session, right? So reading is step a vital role in my life. So if you read more, you can get more ideas. If still you cannot get some ideas which you could use, you should always like extend your imagination, just to widen your imagination to a time when you can incorporate all the creative ideas and use them onto your book. So take all the creative ideas that you think and write them into a book, and then choose which one are the best and write them down. If you couldn't find the answer for the one, you should always stick on with other stories which will make you much more better in your life. So.
Thank you. I am B. Avantika from 8th G of School Sri Natation Vidyasala. I thought to write a short story about each video, which includes funny scenes. Can you give me some of your ideas?
Okay, so my book, I've had a character named Frapp, who's the cousin brother. So take a character who's extremely funny, who's extremely naughty, and used to do all the fun stuffs, and add them into your story. If your story is entirely funny, then people might stop. People wouldn't read until the last. So incorporate funny things as well as adventure things at the same time, because then it will look more better. So if you incorporate both funny things at times and also adventurous things at times, you will get a book the best in the market. I'll just have some water 1 second. Exactly. Yeah.
Hi, I'm K. Anushri from Sri Nadeshan Vidyasala High Secondary School. So my question is about what and who gave the inspiration to you to start reading and writing books?
Okay, so reading, okay, you can relate it to my father. So one of my father's friends he was the one who gave me a few books. So the book, they were based on armies. So army, I was such a great army club at 7 years old, and the books were entirely based on the armies. So I was so eager that I went through the book 3 times in a row. That's how I started reading. So writing is also by my father. So he was the one who gave me the idea to publish the books. So I'm obliged to my father because he had always been supporting my career and always given me new ideas that will always propel me in the right direction. So thanks to my dad for being such an helpful person in my career.
And what are the tips you're going to give to a beginner writer?
Okay, the tips I'll give to the beginner is read more. So reading is especially an important part in writing. So when you read more, you get more ideas that you can use into your book. So the other tip that I would like to give to beginner writers is failure is always part of success. So if you couldn't find the answer, if you couldn't find the answer to the question, always try different ideas on how the answer could be. So if you take lots of characters and you couldn't find one, always extend more type of characters and until you find one, always use your imagination, creativity, and then after you found one, you should make it into a book. So that's how we should do it, and that's what the tips I will give to the beginners.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dear students, thank you all, like wonderful questions. But just let me retrack it a little bit. If you can just avoid asking the same question again, it will be easy. You could ask questions from the copy of the story that you read, which will make it more interesting. Okay.
Happy afternoon, I'm Harini from NSN Memorial Senior Secondary School. I just read a story. It's amazing. You have used very good vocabulary and it's wonderful. I would just like to ask you, have you ever dealt with writer's block or how do you deal with it?
Writer's block. That's a very good question. I'll get back to you once I find the answer. So meet me after the seminar and I'll give you the question. That's a pretty good question actually. Okay.
Writer's block. Take a block.
I haven't.
What she's asking, like when you get blocked, when you write and you're not able to write
Writer's block.
LCLOC. That's what she's asking. Right?
Do my best. So I always wanted to be a good writer, like J.K. Rowling. So work on it, and I used to do it until I get it. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter it's a failure. If you work onto it, you will get it right.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Devnathana and I'm from Menison Memorial Senior Secondary School. I just want to ask what book inspired you the most?
Okay, so the series named The Granama Sultan has been a first inspiration. So then talking about more books, an author named Enid Blyton. So he has a variety of series. So one of them is Secret Seven. So it's where a group of friends they create a society where they go ahead and find mysteries. So another series named Famous Five. So these three series has been inspiration in my journey, which made me to write. So this is how I created my books I've written. So.
Also, where do you get your idea for your books? Like it's so unique.
Exactly. So number one, I used to take real life situations like the one of Advice of Elders. So then number two, I used to use my imagination. So creativity is extremely important when it comes to writing storybooks. So when you have creativity, you can easily find new ideas and you get a much wider range of vision on how to write your book. So that's how it works.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Aita from SS Matriculation School. First of all, I read your book. It was really nice.
Thanks.
My question is, while writing a book, we will have more ideas. How did you manage to sort out those ideas?
As I said before, I used to take all ideas into a paper. I used to write them, and I used to elaborate a bit. I used to create that idea into my mind, and I find out which one is the best. And I used to take them down, and I used to create it as my book. So I used to take down all the ideas I get, and I used to take a particular one, and I used it onto my book. So that's how I've done the 3 books I've published so far.
Hi, I'm K. Shiram from 5C in NSN Matriculation High School, Convent. Why do you want to become an author? Is that your wish?
Actually, author writing books is my passion. So my passion is it's what I do in my leisure time. So whenever I'm free, I always get so bored, and I always want to do something during my free time. So that's why I decided to stick with writing books and reading books. But reading books, it always, the leisure time just goes by snap, and I read books because it's so inspiring, and I get carried away by the imaginative thoughts that I get while reading a book. So that's why I used to read books during the leisure time, and I used to write them also during my leisure time, because that also makes me extremely thoughtful. That's when I get extremely thoughtful, because when I'm focusing on my academics, I can't focus on the story at the right time. So when I get the leisure time, I used to write it down, and then I used it as a draft and send it to the publisher as well. So that's a thanks.
Okay, thanks.
From Edison Matriculation, I'm studying in 5A. As you told, your grandparents also inspired you. As in the lockdown book reviews, my grandparents has actually inspired me with the true stories. As you told, can I use these true stories in these when I'm writing a story?
Actually, it's not wrong to incorporate real life situations into your book. So you can modify it a bit. When you take a real life situation, just modify it a bit. Like I said before, I got into a consequence. I used a consequence, the topic, and I made an entirely different one using a source and a light. That's how it works. Just take the real life situation, it into your own way, using your own imagination, and then write it onto your book. That's okay. Yes.
Thanks. Hi.
Hello.
What is the most memorable award in your life and from whom you bought it?
Actually, the award which I haven't got any honors yet. I got one honor, but the award which I consider it as an award is when I met the Honorable Executive Minister of Tamil Nadu. So when I met him personally, when I met him in his office and had a brief conversation, his conversation was extremely thoughtful, though it was brief. So it feels like an honor to talk with him. It feels like an award to talk with him. So more than an award, it's an honor to talk with him, and that's what I consider it as an award.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Lakshmi of it. So I want to ask you that how much patience you had to write so many books at this age. It is there that age is just a number, but how was your concentration towards writing books?
Actually, patience is where I lack the bit. I am always impatient at times, but during the pandemic, I learned how to be patient and do the right time. So these days, I never get impatient. I used to be patient at times, and used to be impatient before the COVID, and I used to work on it, and now I'm patient. So when you're patient, you can easily write more ideas onto your book, and then choose the right one, and then keep the right one. So as I said before, I used to tear the pages which I don't write blog. So I used to tear the pages which doesn't work. So that's why I don't like to become impatient, because then I can completely ruin my book after all. So when you are patient enough, you can incorporate more ideas, and you can make your book the best in experience. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Harni from SES. I read your short story. It was so interesting. After some years, can you expect movies based on your story, just like J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter?
Actually, when I first started, I used to imagine about how a movie from a book would turn out. But then, actually, you can expect one. I'll maybe work on it after a few years probably, because I'm kind of too young right now to make a movie. So when I become after a few years, I can probably work on it. You can expect that and make it into a book. So I hope the movie will be good, and I hope you will watch it later on. You're welcome.
It was pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
And I have a doubt which I have been discussing with you day before. That I have read all your 3 books. I have a doubt that the importance of the money. Have you taken from your real life, or you have just an imagination?
Imagination, because money, children, they should not play with money, or they should not use money in the wrong way. That's why I used I used the topic and made as an imaginative story where a person who he always used money in the wrong way. So it's not using the wrong way. You always use it in the right way so that it can be helpful in your life rather than wasting time on it rather than wasting time on it. So
And I have another doubt I was asking you doubt, but I have forgotten almost. I think you have been working on the freelancer in the Hindu newspaper.
exactly. How do you get part of our company? So the company I am a content writer. So she used to give me the interview videos. I used to convert it into a Q&A form and I used to give it to the Hindu. So that's how it works. So I am under a company where I'm a content writer. So whenever she gives me an interview, I used to convert it into an article and I post it in the Hindu. So that's how I started writing for the Hindu. I became a freelancer for the Hindu. And I'm currently working on it. So I've written over five articles so far. I'll work on more of them as day goes.
And another last question. I think you are starting a company. Can you please name that company?
Actually, that's not sure yet, but I'm working on it. So the name is not also sure yet, but maybe I'll let you know later. Okay.
I was from Shiksha Matriculation. Nice to meet you. While reading about it gave me really chills. The words you used, the sentence you used, it's all underrated for your journey. How come you overcame your deviations while writing your book?
Okay, so deviations. Okay, so I have lots of deviations. So due to the COVID, lots of deviations before COVID. So due to the COVID, I had tons of leisure time and my deviations are also low. So I used to separate time to work with all my deviations. And then as I had lots of leisure time during the COVID, as I didn't do much during the COVID time, I used to take all the deviations away. I used to do it. I used to do it later and complete the important things at first. So this is how I do.
Before some asked about scheduling, how you schedule. I have also scheduled about my studies, but everyone can't follow their schedule easily. But how you are following, and because you follow, you have reached this height.
Exactly.
Can you tell how you and how to be determined?
So to be determined, when you want to succeed in life, if you want to do something and succeed in your life, you will automatically start following the schedule because you want to succeed in life. So you'll automatically start working on the schedule. So I am also not a schedule type of guy because I don't like to do schedules and stuff. But my determination was to achieve in life and succeed in life. So there's no other go but I had to follow schedule which will help me to become successful in life. So that's how it works. So when you can't do something, you should make yourself do it so that whenever it's a positive way, you should make yourself do it so that you can succeed in your life.
That's a nice explanation. And the last question, which author do you want to accompany to write a big novel?
That's a pretty good question. So the author which I always wanted to write with J.K. Rowling because she is a pretty good author and she is author of Harry Potter. So she's a pretty good author. So I want to collaborate with her and publish a book. So that's who I wanted to write and publish a book with.
Then you are a very kind man. I don't know, but you really impressed me and impressed everyone among here. Thank you very much for this.
Thanks a lot. You're welcome.
Hi, I am Sandhana Sri of Shiksha Matriculation. My question is, what kind of moral support you got from your friends?
Sorry?
What kind of moral support you got from your friends?
Okay, so my friends, they gave me encouragement and ideas as I got started. So when I started writing, I used to spend some time with my friends always during the COVID time. So whenever I'm free, I used to spend some time with my friends. So I always used to interact with them about the book I'm going to write. So they always gave me encouragements, they always gave me ideas, and they always gave me motivation as I got started in my journey. You're welcome.
I'm Akhilan from NSN Memorial. So you said your three books primarily focuses on detective fiction. So I wanted to ask you, who's your favorite? Sherlock Holmes or Hercule Poirot?
Sherlock Holmes. I haven't read him, but I have heard some of his wonderful adventures with some of my friends. So I used to go with Sherlock Holmes because his wonderful adventures he has is always innovative. I haven't read them yet, but still I've heard from my friends, and that's what made me to do a detective story.
Have you read any other genre like science fiction or fantasy?
Yeah, fantasy. I've read lots of fantasies, and genre. I am not sure, but I'm not sure it. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.